better.
You know, I had diss him on the podcast too.
Who?
Diss him.
Oh, I thought you were telling me something you dissed. I was like, you dissed who? Oh,
Yo, you got that thing?
Diss him. And my last episode was Billy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So let me... I like Billy so fucking open, man.
I worked at, we did the marketing for the first Cocaine Cowboy. Did a mixtape and everything for it, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, right. And then I did screenings for it at some spots, and then I worked on the second one a little bit with them, too.
That was dope.
Yeah, me and Michael became cool. You know, Michael grew up here in Kendall.
Yeah.
You know, Griselda's son.
305, yeah.
Yeah, so he grew up here, and he knew about our crew before we even met each other through the movie and stuff.
Damn, that's wild.
It's wild. It's wild that he... living that life, and then he was looking up to us on some hip hop shit.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, that's yo, we gotta record this shit like that.
You ready? No, you let me know.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Phresh presents Que Hola, where we talk to various movers and hustlers who are popping off and succeeding in the 305 and at the same time influencing the culture. I'm your boy D Fig. Holla at your boy when you see me in the street. Ew. Hey, yo, man, what's Gucci? It's your boy D. Holla at your boy when you see me in the street. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Bola Podcast. In this episode, we sat down with DJ EFN, one of the founding members of Crazy Hood Productions, CHP, who's crazy. Also one of the co-hosts of Drink Champs, the #1 music podcast in the country, all right? We sat down with the Miami-Dade County legend, chopped it up, talked about his trajectory through his creative process, and all that fun stuff. So without further ado, I'm not even gonna take up more of the time. Let's just jump into this, all right? Listo. You let me know whenever it started, bro.
You're on, my brother.
So we are in another episode of the Bola Podcast. Thank you so much for everybody to tune in. On this special episode, we have Miami legend, 305, not born and raised, but 305 raised.
For
my
sure.
dog, DJ EFN.
What's
Thank you so much,
good, dog?
for coming on to our podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, man, for giving me this opportunity to talk to a legend.
No, all good, man. The legend thing, it's cool. I mean, we've been working.
You've been working for quite some time. So basically, the way that we linked up was that I hit you up through IG. I threw you a DM.
Right.
Letting you know, yo, I've been following your trajectory since I was a jit. Right. You guys used to stay, I don't know if you recall this, but you used to stay deep down south in Color Ridge where I grew up.
No, I think I told you this. My boy Charlie lived down there.
Oh, Charlie was the one who lived in the apartment.
And we used to hang out all the time, and we used to call it Charligans.
Charligans.
It was like a crazy hood frat house, it was wild.
Yeah, and you guys used to go outside and play football with the little kids from the neighborhood.
Did we ever play football there?
Yeah, man. Y'all did it in the front.
We were never the football.
Nah, we ended up getting evicted. That's what we did.
I mean, but y'all was tossing the football around.
Too? We all got evicted.
I mean, I'm sure that happened, but I don't know about playing football regularly.
I remember that. I mean, that's a vivid memory of I was just basically tossing the football around with all of you guys.
Right.
Because I was just another part of the los chavalos in the fucking neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah, that was a dope.
What was the name of those apartments?
Color Hammock.
Color
Hammock. Color Vista.
I think it was Color Hammocks. It was Color Hammock.
Riverside or Riverside.
It was right there. You get off the highway, you turn, and it's like the right there.
216.
Yeah.
Color Ridge and Ghouls. That was
we was there all the fucking time. That shit, if those walls could speak, that shit was wild.
And the crazy is, when you guys was doing that shit, it was Color Ridge and Miami.
That's when it was Color Ridge.
That's when it was Color Ridge.
Right.
Yeah. Miami in general wasn't popping hip hop wise, right?
Right.
But you guys was popping for the hood, and on top of that, you guys were repping Color Ridge, which was nobody was repping the Ridge back then.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? I remember when you guys opened the Crazy Good store, and you had a shirt that said Color Ridge across it in baseball letters. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? Somebody's actually repping my hood? Well,
are you sure? I have a feeling that you also, because it might be blurry for you because you was young, you might be mixing us up with our homies SLP too.
Was it? But you sold that out of a Crazy Good store.
Yeah. SLP, they were repping Color Ridge hardcore. We were mostly all from Kendall, but my homies moved down and they got the apartment there, and we were always hanging out in Color Ridge. We would always hang out in Color Ridge Mall.
Yeah.
Whatever. Go to the strip club down there.
Yeah, remember that shit.
All that crazy shit. But those dudes were really repping because they were from Color Ridge.
Yeah.
So we didn't necessarily rep Color Ridge, but I mean, we repped all of Miami. Color Ridge was part of the places we used to hang out.
Yeah. So okay, so your trajectory, you grew up here, you got here when you were like, what, 10 years old, 11?
Younger than that. I got here to stay. I moved back and forth when I was young, starting at like 5 or 6 years old.
When did you originally get from Cuba?
No. I was born in L.A.
Oh, you were born in L.A.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm from L.A. I still got family. My family just left. They were visiting. They went back to L.A. I got family in L.A. and everything.
And when you originally got here was when you were like 5 or 6?
Yeah. Like I started moving back and forth because my parents, they divorced. My dad moved to Miami, and then they were trying to work it out. We would move back and forth. And I probably stayed finally when I was like 10 years old, 9, 10, 11, yeah.
Okay, and at that time, were you getting like influences from various pieces of media like music and like films, or were you just like in a playful childhood type of situation? Because sometimes like, you know, there's those different types of influences on your life that you don't really address. Do you recall any of that?
No, of course. It all influenced me, and you know what a latchkey kid is?
Nah.
So it's like basically, I don't know if that term's used anymore, but it's like when I was raised mainly by my mom.
Okay.
She's a single parent. Uh-huh. And she had to work.
Okay.
And so latchkey kid is a term that's used like the kid who had the key would get home from school and would go into the crib by himself.
Oh, okay.
And live be by himself for a while, you know, and then usually those kids were running around the neighborhood or whatever. So that's what I was, a latchkey kid. And I would watch like, like all these movies, like war movies, because my dad, he was in the Vietnam War, he was a Marine. So since he wasn't around, I felt like, now looking back, that was my connection to him. Getting into war, like any little boy at the time, G.I. Joe, and I was like into like the military, but I felt closer to him through those movies, and I would watch like all the war movies, so that influenced me a lot, and like the shows at the time, like A-Team and different things like that. But I was really heavy into like war stuff.
A lot of English speaking media.
Oh, for sure. No, definitely not a lot of Spanish at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Only when I would like my grandparents' house, but my grandparents lived in L.A. at the time. Like, I remember going and, my grandfather watching Sábado Gigante and the novelas. Like, my grandma would come from L.A. to Miami, and I remember I'd be stuck in the evening because she would watch these novelas to the point where I would get into the novela.
Oh,
but nah, everything for me, like, was English stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So what was like your first experience getting, like, hooked on urban media?
When you say urban, what do you mean?
I mean, like, hood shit.
I mean, to me, I didn't think of it as hood or urban. It was just the music and the stuff that was speaking to me at the time. Like,
okay, what was that first, initial impression?
I'm going to kind of give you the trajectory. So, I'm a young kid. I was a skater.
Okay.
I was into, like, music. I liked all kinds of music. But I got into, like metal and, like punk rock music.
Okay.
Because I was just into like this like counterculture, like angry music.
All right.
That was kind of like what I got into. And
rebel shit.
Hip hop was starting to play a lot around that time period, and it was coming around me, and I would listen to it, but it was like more of like the more party hip hop and just the earlier hip hop, and it didn't really speak to me the same way that metal and punk had spoke to me. But when NWA hit the scene, that spoke to me in a different way. That gave me the same thing that punk and metal was giving to me, but I felt more aligned with hip hop and with these groups like Public Enemy, NWA, Run DMC.
Yeah.
Like, I really felt like this is the music of my generation, where the music I was listening to before was an older generation's music. This is like, oh man, this is what's going on now. And I was doing graffiti, I was b-boying, but none of us consciously did that, like, oh, I'm gonna do this. It's what you did as a kid. We had the boombox, we was breakdancing, the same skaters I skated with, they were hip hop heads, but we didn't call ourselves hip hop heads. We're just like, we're all doing hip hop culture without even knowing it yet, because it was so new in the beginnings of hip hop that nobody really knew what it was. And we were kids. We weren't even trying to figure out what it was. We were just enjoying life. But that's what it was. It was NWA, Public Enemy, Run DMC. Those are the beginnings. And then going to like Hot Wheels.
Shout out Hot Wheels.
Yeah,
bro.
and then early Hot Wheels days, they would have like concerts. They have seeing a DJ there. Then Yo MTV Raps, playing. And I would see that. Those were the things that started to like really draw me in.
Okay. So then that led you to want to then create your own type of shit, right? Your own media, your own music, all of that.
Not quite yet at that time, though.
Okay. At what time? When did that like entrepreneurial spirit come into what you were like just experiencing?
Because the times that I'm telling you, I'm in junior high.
Yeah.
Arvida Junior High, which is not too far from here.
Okay.
Right. And then I go off to high school, and now I'm just like a diehard, like now the magazines are starting to come into play. We didn't have magazines.
Source.
So the Source magazine's starting to trickle down to Miami. Like, people don't understand, pre-internet had to like get here, and it took a while. So now we're getting the Source magazine, and now we're like, oh shit, like getting really into like the whole scene, the culture.
Yeah.
And I'm just a fan, and then I meet like-minded people, like my boy Paul in high school, and different friends that I started to meet, and they were into the same kind of music, the same vibe as me.
Yeah.
And they were from different parts. Like, he was originally from Jersey, another homie is from Chicago, but we all shared this love for hip-hop.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was like, let's just be, I didn't think about it, but we were just like the biggest fans we could be and supporters of the local culture. Like, we would go to wherever local parties were happening, whatever clubs were happening. If there was an artist performing that was local, we were there.
Okay.
We were breaking night every fucking day. Go to a party and go right to school the next day.
I feel you.
But it was towards the senior year of high school that I'm like, everybody's thinking about, am I going to go to university, college? That wasn't in my cards, And the only thing that I had a real passion for was hip-hop culture. And I felt like Miami at the time, although we had some things going on and we had Two Life Crew and we had all this stuff, the scene here wasn't fully developed. It wasn't respected nationally.
Yeah.
So I felt like, I told my boys, like, yo, I want to start like this company. I don't know what it's going to really do. But like the goal, our mission statement is, let's put on for the city, man. Let's be a part of like supporting the local scene and helping the local scene grow. And that's like our senior year, 1993.
Okay, so then you were basically like going through the experience of like high school and all of these other cultures that you were like basically dabbling in, right? And you came at the point of high school when you had to go in some kind of trajectory. You had to go down some path, right? That's when you were like, okay, let me do this entrepreneurially with the shit that I like, with like the passions that I've been fucking with for the last 4+ years, 5+ years.
Right.
So, okay, so what was there an influence for you to have to be for your entrepreneurial spirit, or was that just like self-generated that you were like, okay, let me do it my own? Like, you could have said, fuck, let me go work for a record label or something like that and learn some skill sets, but you were like, nah, I want to do this shit my way, right? I want to do this with my brand, et cetera, et cetera. So where'd that come from?
I mean, I could say some of my inspiration, or even like something that I could look to, is that my dad, though, although he wasn't in my life as much as I would have liked him to, he was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
He was a habitual entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying?
Serial entrepreneur.
Yeah, and he was a guy that would start businesses, and he became presidents of companies, and he was doing his thing, and I could see that, whenever he would come around, and I could, I kind of looked up to him in that way. And he would build up all these companies and stuff, and then he'd crash to the ground and then build up again from that. Like, so I saw that, and I was like, okay, so it's in my blood to be able to do business. But unfortunately, my dad wasn't hands-on with trying to like help me cultivate that. But at least I had that as an inspiration, knowing that that's my blood and that's my dad, and if he could do it, I could probably do it. And then what I did is I looked, because no one was doing anything like in terms of hip hop. It was all new still, and so I started to read all the articles in the magazines, and I looked to like Master P, to Wu-Tang, to Ruthless Records, Eazy-E, to Luke with Two Life Crew, Luke Records, and I was looking at these independent record labels, these independent moves, these movements in hip hop that I understood and I looked up to, and I said, all right, let me take a little bit from this, let me take a little bit from this, and let me try to like create my own strategy here with my crew, and that's how I started to do it.
Damn, that's dope, man. I congratulate you for that, because that takes, first of all, it takes balls, it takes tenacity for you to fucking, at that age, young,
right,
say, I'm going to go do this in my own, in my own way. I mean, big time shout out to like Luke for paving the way, and big 100%. Time shout out to like Master P. I remember Master P was selling CDs out of his trunk is how he started, and like what he grew to was like, yo, that was another thing, like seeing you in the hood also like gave me personally like a chance to say, you know what? I see EFN doing it. I see Craze doing it. I see people from my like deep down south, people that I know that are like, yo, I could run into him at the Publix or whatever the fuck,
right.
doing it. You know what I'm saying? So like, why not? Why not me? You know what I'm saying? So when you started doing the media, when you were doing like mixtapes and things like that, what made you like? How were you putting mixtapes together? You know, that's something that I always wondered, like, what made you say, okay, on this track I want blah 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 blah, like this is my sazon for this one and for this one and for this one.
Right.
I was listening to your mixtapes the other day. I have one right here, Throwback, you know, hosted by David Banner. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out David Banner.
Shout out
dude.
David Banner, a throwback that you did. Like, you did all these collabs. What was it that you were trying to put together on tracks like that?
Well, I mean, the mixtape journey started because I noticed that I looked at the like landscape of DJing.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, where do I fit in as a DJ? And I noticed that there was already club DJs, party DJs. There's DJs that are doing radio, but there wasn't really nobody doing like the mixtapes consistent. But we were getting a shit ton of mixtapes in Miami. They were all usually coming from New York.
Yeah. Very, very much.
Yeah, and so I was like, all right, we love these mixtapes, but these mixtapes are repping, you know, other places.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we can really relate to in these mixtapes. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do the mixtape route, and I'm going to make sure that it represents Miami. You know, I'm going to make sure the titles represent Miami. But what I had to do is that I knew that even in Miami, we were consuming these out-of-town mixtapes. So I had to make the mixtapes very, very similar, you know, so that people couldn't, you know, so that they would say, okay, it's almost the same thing as this. I had to make it comparable to those mixtapes. So I was looking to the tracks that they were putting on there, and I was usually trying to get tracks similar to that, you know, which is the music that I like too.
Yeah.
But I would always have, like I said, a title that rep Miami, an artist that rep Miami, an underground Miami artist on there in the intro. The intros, it was my crew. We were always talking Miami stuff.
Yeah.
So that was the whole point of the mixtapes, and that's how like that all started moving forward.
Okay. I mean, I like that explanation. It completely makes sense now that I look at it from like 5,000 feet away. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's that itself was like a creative expression, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And also repping the hood, repping the 305,
Right.
you know, at the same time. For sure you're never gonna leave 305. You're born and raised, like you're.
I mean,
you have that.
I might leave at some point. Shit.
Okay, so-
don't anchor me here.
That's my
I mean,
question, because like it's been hard as fuck
Right.
for that shit to like. If I know what it was back in the days,
Right.
like I grew up here and I remember there being no scene at all. You know,
right.
like before fucking Sylvester Stallone and Madonna bought houses in South Beach.
Right.
Nobody even knew like
Right.
Dade County existed type shit. So it was like it has sprung
the
up.
Cocaine Cowboys knew.
I mean, the cocaine, they knew what's up. They keep it on the low. They don't have media. They don't have no media fucking properties to show that shit
They
off.
built Kendall up.
Facts, big facts. Westchester.
Right.
Dayland, downtown Dayland.
That's
all
how
built.
they let. But yeah, so like, what kept you here? That's like, yo, I'm gonna do it here in my backyard.
I mean, I wouldn't. No, I never thought of leaving.
Okay.
I saw other people, other artists, other DJs, you know, take that route. They're like, you know, let's go to the bigger markets, and that's where I'm gonna make it.
Yeah.
And I saw them always fail. I always said like that doesn't make sense to me. You know, like first of all, if you rep the city, then you rep it from the city.
Yeah.
You don't go somewhere else to rep it. And on top of that, you know, you're gonna be bigger in your own city than if you go to this bigger city that has a bunch of other people out there doing it already. And what you gonna do? Be bigger than them? Nah.
Yeah.
Like that story usually doesn't pan out well. So
Okay.
I decided to just, you know, kind of shine for my own city, rep my own city, and that worked because what happened was I became the go-to for a lot of like industry people.
Yeah.
They were like, oh yeah, EFN, if you go to Miami, EFN and Crazy Hood. Whatever it was. If you needed Bud, came to us.
Yeah.
If you needed mixtapes, you wanted to get promotions, whatever, like they came to us. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of stood out here versus going somewhere else where you're just gonna get lost in that sauce.
That's what's up, man. That's admirable. You know what I'm saying?
But I have kids now, so do I want to raise my kids here? I grew up here. I don't know if I want to raise my kids here. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence on that one, you know?
All right.
I already know what we did out here when we was youngins, you know?
I mean, at least you being honest about
I'm
it.
100%. Ever since I had my kids, I said, I think I might have to leave.
Yeah, bro. It is. I mean, being born and raised in Dade County is a completely different like beast unto itself. You know?
Right,
like,
right.
You out here. I remember having my first club experience, like real club experience.
Right.
I was probably like 16 years old. Right?
How old are you now?
I'm 39.
Okay.
All right. So I went to this place called Club Cameo on South Beach.
Right.
And the way I got in,
I remember Cameo.
you remember Cameo? It was crazy.
Is Cameo still around?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I mean, that building's always going to be. It's a historic site.
But I don't know if it's a club or whatever.
I don't think so.
Right.
But I mean, 16, having a real club experience, getting in the line. I remember seeing my teacher in the line to try to get into Cameo, and I got in because I had a friend who was a security guard, right? And he was like, back then there was like a lot of Latin Kings and stuff like that, and he was like really high up in the Latin Kings. So he's like, he was the head security guard at there. So he's like, got me and a couple of friends in the joint. And like we went in VIP and shit. I remember vividly seeing my teacher in line trying to get in that spot. I'm like, yo, I'm 16, walking into that. But that's the experiences that you have in the 305. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you a different type of animal. It exposes you to various things at a different age where you're like,
yeah, I mean the drugs, the sex, everything, bro. My first DJ gigs was working for the Mafia.
Facts. You know, it's
in
crazy.
South Beach.
Damn.
No, not the Russian, the Italian Mafia. The Italian Mafia. Yeah. Because they used to own a lot of the clubs in South Beach in the 90s. I mean, I'm sure going back before that, but at that time, they still own those clubs. And I remember my first gigs was DJing for one of their clubs, and that shit was crazy, bro.
Yeah, and you're young and you're being exposed to these things, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, do I want my kids to be going through this, or I want to, have a nice childhood and shit?
Yeah, it's just, this city's wild, man. It's wild. And it's ever changing because it's always the people that move here, it's always changing demographic.
Yeah.
But like that foundation of crazy Miami doesn't change, but the people change, so that it remixes the crazy to some other crazy shit.
Is that part of the Crazy Hood naming?
Good question. Crazy Hood, the naming is a little bit more dark. It's darker, and like I literally felt like I was insane at a point in my life, in my young life.
All right.
Like I thought I was like clinically insane.
All right.
And so when I came up with the name, that's what crazy was,
That crazy.
That kind of crazy. It was, people sometimes interpret, like Thug crazy, this crazy. I mean, it could go Thug, but it really was like on that level of insanity. And hood meant neighborhood where people, I'm sorry, it doesn't mean neighborhood.
Yeah.
Most people thought it meant neighborhood.
Yeah.
We never were saying our hood was that crazy. We're just saying we're hoods. Because we would call ourselves hoods because the attire for a hip hop head in the early 90s was wearing hoodies. Even though it's hot in Miami, the school was cold. Mm-hmm. So we were the champion hoodie. That was our uniform. So we would call ourselves hood. What up, hood? You a hoodlum or whatever. Yeah. Crazy hood. And then production was to make it sound professional. Because I was like, we got to make it sound right.
We gotta fix it at the end.
we got to make people comfortable, and then that's Crazy Hood Productions right there.
Damn, that's a dope ass story. I like that origin story there, man. So like the upward, all right. So you use this like urban media production for upward mobility. You learned the skill sets that were required to put in the work, right? And then you had your friends alongside you build those skill sets so you guys could build this like empire that you've done out here.
Right.
What was that like, that trajectory of using that for upward mobility? Like being able to understand like, yeah, man, like I could do this dope ass content that I like and also get paid. It doesn't have to be like I'm just doing it for the love of the media.
Right. I mean, look, the real hard reality is that early on, first of all, you don't make a lot of money in the entertainment business. It's really a small percentage of people that make money. And what happens is you come in young and you see music videos and you're like, yo, we're gonna make an album, we're gonna make a music video, we're gonna go platinum. And we came in with those dreams, like we get in the studio, oh shit, we in the studio, we're gonna make music, we made a song, oh shit, this is gonna go platinum. And you do all of that, and it goes double wood in the hood.
Facts.
Big facts. So we learned it quickly. I learned it quickly. My crew learned it quickly. I related to my crew, and we just started to understand, like, look, man, like there's a reality here. And so the first thing that fuels you is passion. It's not finance. You're doing it on bare minimum. And anything you make, any amount of money you make is reinvested into allowing that dream to inch forward. Mm. So for years, it wasn't a penny made doing anything. In fact, we as a crew, we would have meetings and we would pay dues to like support, like to press flyers up, to print, mixtape, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? And it was the passion. And what paid us was people saying, yo, that's dope. Or, oh man, I got that track. Or I got that mixtape. Or I went to your party. That was the pay.
That's what like kept you going.
That's what keeps you going, and then getting like featured in the Source and this and that, and getting national. And we're like, oh shit, like people are paying attention, and that's what keeps you going. And you know what I realized is that this music route that we thought was linear, like okay, you make a song, you make an album, you put it out, boom. I see that this linear thing is not the way it's gonna happen. So you have to start to look, okay, how do we do something that's relatable that starts to bring in money, so that at least you could reinvest in what you're doing, the things that aren't making money. So that's when I started to do look into marketing and promotion.
Okay, so that actually parlays into the next thing, your street team.
Street team stuff.
I remember the street team. The street team came out on the scene and was like fucking full blast on South Beach, passing out flyers left and right. I remember that like very vividly. So that was what said, okay, I need to create marketing plans and strategies to push these dreams that we have as a crew.
Right. You got to branch out. You got to do things that are related to what you're doing. So we're keeping it all within music, within hip hop culture. So we were promoting ourselves, and then we had homies that started working for record labels, and they saw us. They're like, man, y'all are killing on the streets, because we was going into every hood in Miami, making sure, even if people didn't want to fuck with us, we're like, you're gonna know about us.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the flea markets, we're everywhere, everywhere. And so my homie was like, yo, I want to hire your street team to work the account I'm working. Boom. And then he gave me the account. And shout out to my boy Alfonso. And then he gave me my first account, which was Priority Records, if I'm not wrong. And then after that, it started snowballing, like boom. No, Phresh was way later with Def Jam. But shout out to Phresh, rest in peace to Phresh. The Def Jam account was like the unattainable account. It was the golden goose,
yeah,
of marketing accounts to get. And my boy Phresh had that Def Jam account. You know, Def Jam is like the epitome of hip hop record labels.
Yeah.
And
Russell Simmons.
At one point, he like passed it on, which was crazy. He's like, yo, you know, I'm gonna pass the account on. I mean, there was a couple other things at play. Like Nori moved. We had met Nori already, which I'm kind of jumping a lot of things, but Nori moved to Def Jam.
Yeah.
And then at Def Jam, he told the people at Def Jam, yo, I want Crazy Hood, EFN and Crazy Hood to like, you know, work my records. But then my boy Phresh, he's the one that had it. And he's like, you know what, man, you know, I'm kind of like, I've been doing this for a while. I'm going to pass the baton to you. And you know, he ended up being the manager at Coco's or Rolex. And he passed away a few years after that. Yeah, and he's a legend out here. But yeah, man, it was the marketing stuff, man. Like once we got those accounts, we had like 10. We did like almost every record label. We did brands. We did Echo Clothing. We did stuff with Bacardi, Coca-Cola, Ciroc, you know, everybody. And that is what funded the overhead. You know, you had a warehouse, you had a studio, you know, you had to press up flyers, you had to do T-shirts, you had to do this. This is what funded it. And then the reality set in with the crew is like, yo, this is not like, we're not all gonna be able to nobody could really live off of this.
Yeah.
If not one or two people, you know what I'm saying? So then it got to the point where you kind of break the reality to the crew, or the crew starts to realize it themselves. And this is where real true friendships comes into line, and having a solid team is that the team didn't dissolve. The team said, all right, cool, I'm gonna go do this. Some people went back to school. Some people went and got vocational jobs. Some people became chefs and cooks, and you know, and they went and did their thing. But they all was still a part of Crazy Hood.
Yeah,
and we're still a supportive role, while one or two of us were getting some of the benefit of it financially in terms of what we were doing and working it. You know, we were working it. That was our 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? But these guys were still playing that supportive role.
That's dope, man. That's dope that you had that kind of supporting cast that was able to stick through the rough times, you know, the rough patches.
Right. Absolutely.
But you did get that account off the muscle, like being able to go out there and do the street team. That's like proving to everybody else that you could, we could accomplish these tasks, and we could get this done. Like a lot of creatives, like this podcast is all about creatives, right? And my podcast, I'm basically like trying to focus on how people in South Florida can learn, and like, especially the creatives, learn and get some tidbits to like push it. And a lot of things when I talk to creatives is like, yo, you gotta like not rest on your laurels. Like you gotta be like out there pushing your shit. Like if you're not pushing it, like you think is the best, nobody else is gonna come out here and do it for you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's So then it expanded into the Crazy Goods. How did that happen? Like,
Yeah, Crazy Goods was around the same time as the marketing stuff started happening. Me and my homie Eddie Giggs, we came up with the concept together. We were like, yo, it'd be, there was a couple hip hop stores.
Yeah.
At the time, but there wasn't one that was like solely dedicated to hip hop. Like there was some that were like head shops and shit like that.
Yeah.
So he's like, man, it'd be dope if we had like a dope, we created a dope hip hop store. And we came up with the concept of Crazy Goods, Bird Road, 137th Avenue. And we had that joint for like 3 years. And really and truly, retail clothing wasn't our passion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really the reason why that thing didn't like go further.
Yeah.
But creating that store was a learning lesson. It was a hub. It was something that a lot of people nowadays that came around the store like, yo, I remember when I was a kid and I went to Crazy Goods and we did like these lot parties where we would have a writer's bench for graffiti artists, a b-boy contest, an MC battle. You know what I'm saying? Like we did all these things. We brought gear and mixtapes and records and different things that you couldn't find in a lot of places. And it was solely for hip hop. Like my concept too was I wanted a mom and a dad to be able to bring their kid to a store without having to see a bong in it. Like expose them to hip hop without the fucking bong and the blunts and all that shit. You know? Because I didn't smoke, so I didn't give a fuck. You know? So I was like, I wanted to make it a safe space in that way.
I feel you.
For kids, you know what I'm saying? But eventually, a lot of the gear that we would sell started going to Bird Irons.
Yeah.
And was like widely like available, and then the prices got hiked for us and down for them, so we had to close the store down.
All right, no, but it was another creative expression,
absolutely,
of like love for hip hop and the culture, and it also like bringing more culture to like a part of Miami that really didn't have that much culture back in the day. Let's be honest, like Kendall still to this day doesn't have like that many cultural hubs like that it had that other parts of the city has.
I don't know if they consider that Kendall, do they? That where we had still Kendall.
That's like
that's Kendall.
Yeah, so it's like that was crazy that it was like happening there. You know
and we had artists come in and do like signings and shit. It was wild, yeah,
that was wild. Like seeing like Nori went out there. I'm like, yo, Nori's in Kendall.
That's how we met him coming to the store. Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So like, all right, so the all of this expressive creative media also has led to like film creation now. So now you have the Crazy Hood Film Academy.
Yeah.
And you guys have been creating documentaries and other pieces of content that you guys are dropping through various like streaming platforms, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So who was the creative inspiration for that? Because that's really where like my avenue is. I love creating visually and things like that. What was that? Where did that spring from?
So again, it was trying to figure out another branch to what we were doing, figure out another way to be expressive, to bring in revenue if possible, but just be creative and do things that people weren't doing. And it started with making visual mixtapes. Like adding a DVD to my mixtapes.
Okay.
CD. So I was like, it'd be dope and different if because we can do it, is to add an element of where it came with a CD and a DVD.
All right.
And so that's where Crazy Film Academy kind of like the idea started. And then from there, I was like, it'd be dope if I can go and do like just film. Like if I did a freestyle with an artist, go over there in guerrilla style and just film the freestyle real quick.
Yeah.
It sounds like nothing now, but back then technology wasn't up to that part where you could just do something like that.
Yeah, you needed a video camera.
People weren't doing that, and I was like, that's a part of Crazy Film Academy as well. Like boom, we filmed this video, and it's like a freestyle, boom, boom, and we put that out as well. Like that's when YouTube's starting to pop off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beginnings, and then Garcia, who was an MC in Crazy Hood, he had dabbled in film school, so he had some of the skill sets to support this, which he did. So he was a part of it. And, and we had other people that worked with us, like Dre Films, that ended up working with Ross, and he did a lot of other stuff later on.
Okay.
He was an early part of doing some of the videos that we did. And we did, that's like the beginnings of all that. But then the recession hit, right?
Okay, 2008?
Yeah, around then. And things got really bad. At first, I thought it was just for us and for me. I was like, down on everything. I was like, oh, man, everything just went to shit.
Yeah.
And all the marketing accounts kind of went away, and everything just, we had to we had to hit the mattresses, bro. Like, shit just got really bad. Back to ramen noodles and all that shit. And in that, though, is where I came up with the idea of going to Cuba to film the first Coming Home.
Okay.
In that misery.
So in that space, you saw that, look, there's a big ass space because we don't have all of these other things taking up our bandwidth right now. I want to fill it in with this.
I mean, I don't know that I could tell you that I thought it like that. I just, in that mind state or in that time period where things were rough, I felt like, okay, well, it's all like now, well, if we don't have money coming in, if we don't have this, we don't have that, the only thing you have is your creativity. So, okay, what else can we do? What can we do that isn't gonna, that we can afford at the moment? And I wanted to go to Cuba anyways. So if anything, I didn't think of it. It was gonna be some big old thing. I was like, I want to go to Cuba. All right, Garcia, you went to film school. Let's film our trip to Cuba, and let's link with the local artists in Cuba, and let's see what they're doing. Boom, we go, we do it, come back, edit the film in my apartment, me and Garcia together. And we come up with this film that we're like, all right, maybe some Cubans will like it. Maybe our friends will like it. Maybe it's a film for our family. I don't know. And then it ended up, it won a film festival. Then it got picked up by Revolt the year they launched because we filmed in 2012. 2013 they launched. It was the first original acquisition. And I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. And then from then, the idea of let's do a series. I was watching Anthony Bourdain at the time. I really liked the way he did stuff. And I was like, let's do something similar to that, but on some hip hop vibes. And then the series was born.
Damn, man, that's dope. I mean, I congratulate you once again, you and your entire team for putting that together.
Sure.
That shit is dope, man. Like, you had one of my boys who, rest in peace, and Mike passed away. He was on one of those, man.
Bro. Rest in peace,
That's my dog, man. He represented like hip hop Colombia so much. You know what I'm saying? And he was a big inspiration to me as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was my dog, and I also I'm proud that he was like, you captured his spirit. You know what I'm saying?
And
on film.
I don't know if you saw, because we just redid a deal with Revolt, and now we also partnered up with LL Cool J and Rock the Bells.
Okay,
like LL really saw the vision, and he's like, I want to help make this even bigger. So we ended up going back to Revolt, and we did a new deal where it includes all 6 films that we have that we did independently. The 2 ones that never were released publicly were Colombia and South Africa. Yeah. And they all just got released. So they're all on the Revolt app. But what we did is we re-edited the ending of Colombia to do a rest in peace for him in memory of him.
Yeah, Mike, man. Shout out Mike. So, all right. So did you here being that you were in South Florida, you did this entire movement here. Did you feel that you had how they say that iron sharpens iron? Did you feel that you had somebody else in South Florida who's also pushing you, or somebody that you would be like, okay, I want to try to do something. I saw what he or they did. I want to try to do something. Was there somebody like that?
I mean, I would definitely say there was friendly competition and maybe sometimes unfriendly with with all our local peers. Like, you had Night Breeders, DJ Epson Night Breeders, you had Khaled, you had Craze, you had who else am I missing?
UB. Shout out UB.
Oh, THC. Yeah, but I mean, there was a lot of crews that were doing it. I mean, and so it was, like I said, it was friendly. And you sometimes when you're younger, people might ruff
my
some
crew
feathers.
Better than your crew type shit.
Yeah, but this is before Po' Boy.
Okay.
Yeah, this is before Po' Boy.
Slip and Slide.
Yeah, but they were on a different category. Like, they were Slip and Slide was already a record label that was doing things.
Science Room in Broward.
Science Room, but they were a little bit before us too. Like, I don't see them to us. It was really Night Breeders. It was Khaled and his crew, and that's pretty much it at that time. That in terms of who I felt were our direct peers, or not comp but direct peers.
I mean, Peter Thomas was on a different level, but
different.
Local Irie.
Yeah, no,
Irie.
I mean, that was again. Irie came a little bit after us. The ones I named are the ones that I felt like we were the ones that were,
jostling. Jostling
Khaled and Epps, they were both. When Khaled jumped into the Temple, that was a direct, competition to Epps doing, because Epps was the king of the clubs at the time.
Yeah.
So they had it out, and then I was doing radio, pirate radio, and Khaled was doing Mix 96, and we were rival stations. It was all crazy back then, but it was dope.
That's good. I mean, I think that competition or jostling breeds more creativity,
Because it's always like, yo, I gotta do it fresh, or we gotta do it in a different manner. We gotta bring light to it in a different, in a different situation.
Right.
That's you always need something like that. And I'm like, being the fact that you have done this here in South Florida, it's awesome for you to be held, like Crazy Hood, to be held at that standard where other people are like, yeah, I wanna like even say fuck, I wanna do more than Crazy Hood. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
It pushes them to that situation. If there's nobody in the city who's doing it, then you're like, te quedas así, como que, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Like, I'll tell you something, going back a little bit to the story, the mixtapes and our crew, the way that we repped Kendall was kind of by design in the sense, and I mean, I don't know if you remember us ever talking about it, but I know that this was my intention, is I looked at New York, because obviously that was the model, that was the mecca of hip-hop, and New York had the borough beefs.
All right,
You know, Queens, Brooklyn, boom, boom. But at the time, it wasn't violent, at that time.
Yeah.
It was more about skill, and it was about, like, everybody, like, no, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Queens. I'm sure some shit happened in the streets, but I'm just saying, for the most part, in terms of our artistry and hip-hop, it was about, flexing skills. And that like, beef between each other and that competition is what made New York so dope.
Uh-huh.
So I looked at that and said, okay, if we pump our chest and say Kendall, we're going to piss everybody off. We're gonna piss everybody off. Okay. They're gonna be like, fucking Kendall, get the fuck out of here. But the point, it was really the point to get everybody to say, yeah, get the fuck out of here. I wanted the dudes in Hialeah to do a diss song. I wanted the dudes in Cutler Ridge to get mad. I wanted the dudes in Carroll City or in Homestead or wherever the fuck, Little Havana. Because I wanted to breed that same, atmosphere of competition. And I think we did it in our own way. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
That's work.
Yeah, it worked. We definitely got a lot of fuck Kendalls in there.
That's good, man. That's like good foresight. Like, damn, I want to try to get this shit popping.
Yeah.
How we gonna incite this firecrackers off?
Because trust me, dudes in Kendall were looking at us like, you're not gonna rep Kendall, are you? And we're like, yeah, we are.
It must have been like a tough decision at that point, right?
It wasn't tough because what I got out of hip hop is being authentic, being genuine. And what am I gonna do? I can't say I don't live in Kendall. I live in Kendall.
I live in Kendall.
What the fuck else am I gonna rep? If I rep, I'm gonna rep Cutler Ridge. I mean, like you said, you thought we rep Cutler Ridge. We were in Cutler Ridge all the time.
Yeah.
But we weren't. But my boy lived there at that time. But when we started Crazy Hood, nobody lived in Cutler Ridge.
Yeah.
We're all from Kendall, and I was gonna rep where we were from, and that's what happened.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. That's a dope. So all right. So then your career progresses. You guys are opening all these different avenues in media. You have the film. You have the Crazy Goods. You're doing the mixtapes, the street team, the marketing. And then you start that radio show with Nori, the Militant
Crazy Raw Radio on
Crazy
Sirius,
Raw Radio, right? So that was like, do you feel that was like a precursor?
Of course.
To Drink Champs?
Of course,
All
it was. Yeah.
So that was like, you felt like that's where you learned how to basically host it and how to like fuck around.
Yeah, if you look at there's some footage from there. It looks and sounds like Drink Champs, just without guests.
Okay.
We didn't have too many guests because we were doing it here in Kendall.
Yeah.
And not too many guests were coming down to Kendall at the time. But yeah, that was the precursor to Drink Champs. And the funny part is that the name Drink Champs was born in and around that same time period, but without the idea of what that was gonna be. Like when I was like, Drink Champs sounds dope, and I went and grabbed the .com and
You just came up with the name?
Yeah, because we were drinkers, bro. That was the thing. We were drinkers.
Fuck, that's wild.
Oh man, my girl's gonna hate me. We were really, really drinkers. You know what I'm saying? I think we were more drinkers then than we are now.
Yeah.
And Nori would come because Nori ended up moving to Kendall. He lived in the hammocks.
Yeah.
And he would come to our studio every day. And then, we would have these, like, once a week, we would all get together. It was crazy in our office studio. It was why we would gamble and all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And when you couldn't handle your liquor, like, we would say, yo, you're not a drink champ. That was the thing that we would say in Crazy Hood. And Nori was around it too. He was a part of that. And we would be like, you're not a drink champ. You're not a drink champ. So I grabbed Drink Champ and Drink Champs.
At that time, you were like...
I didn't know what it was. Yeah, I got both of them still to this day. Like, I got the singular and the plural of Drink Champs. And I grabbed the .com. And I was like, yo, if anything, it'd be a dope sounding like a name for a bar.
All right.
Or maybe a clothing line.
You were thinking brand, but you didn't know what to attach it to.
I didn't know. I mean, I was into the .com era. Like I was one of those dudes buying up every .com.
Yeah.
You know, if I thought of it in my dreams, I woke up, oh, let me buy that
That's
bitch.
mine.
You know,
Yeah.
I got all kinds of crazy .coms. So
That's
I
what's up.
can't even tell you they're so wild. But yeah, that's what happened, and it started around that time period, and then you fast forward. And a homie of mine, Dominican homie Godfrey, who's in the Podcast Hall of Fame, he had a podcast called he has it called Gamer Tag Radio.
All right.
And he's from Kendall too. Now he lives in LA. He would always be like, yo, you got a podcast. But in hip hop, podcasting was not cool. It was considered like this nerdy computer shit.
Yeah, because it's like you're learning stuff.
Not just learning. It's that, like, it's so funny how eras are, but in this era, no rapper and nobody in hip hop, everybody, you know, was like, I ain't going on the computer. I don't even want to check my emails. I don't even have an email. I don't know what an email is. Because they felt like you felt nerdy doing that. I mean, I was into all that shit. I'm like, nah, fuck that. This is the future.
Technology.
And my boy's like, yo, podcasting. And I was like, yeah, it actually sounds dope, because we stopped doing the radio show because it was a show that we had to do every week for a certain amount of time, turn it in. It was with XM and Sirius XM. And podcasting allowed you this freedom to do whatever you want, however long you want it, and put it out whenever the fuck you want. And I was like, this is perfect, because I started managing a group called Mayday.
Mm-hmm.
And they started...
Shout out Mayday.
Yeah, shout out Mayday. They got signed to Strange Music, Tech 9. We went on the road. Nori and Poem put out a new album. They went to Europe to tour, and we just didn't have the time to do stuff. That's why we stopped the radio show. And then when Nori came back, I was like, yo, a podcast. And he's like, what is that? You know, I don't know podcasting. What is... And I was like, no, man, podcast. And I kept drilling it in his head. And then finally, somebody else hit him up. And he's like, yo, talk to E. He's been telling me about this podcasting thing. And so trying to figure, and this took years. But in that time period, I'm like, I think the podcast should be called Drink Champs. I'm telling myself this now. Then I get my homie Scam, who's from Carroll City, famous artist, MC and graphic artist. Mm-hmm. Yo, I need you to do this logo for me. Boom, he does the iconic Drink Champs logo.
Damn.
All this shit. Long story short, Nori finally comes around. He's like, yo, I'm ready. And I said, I got a deal with CBS. I got CBS ready to hear a demo from us, which my boy Godfrey hooked up.
Yeah.
And Nori's like, ooh, CBS sounds big. You know, let's go. And I go, we're gonna call it Drink Champs. And when Nori's ready, he's like, oh, yeah, whatever, let's call it Drink Champs. Yeah. Drink Champs. I go, I got the logo. All right, cool, let's go. Boom. And then Drink Champs was born.
Damn, G, that's what's up, bro.
Yeah.
That is fucking dope. Like that, it was on the back burner or something that you didn't like let it go to the wayside. You know what I'm saying? You were thinking about it for quite some time. Shout out Scam for the logo, man.
Yeah, no, Scam is iconic.
Yeah, man. No, he's super known in South Florida. I mean, super known in the scene.
He did the shit with Eminem, Tribe Called Quest cover. Like he's legend times legend.
Damn, that's intense. How all of that has come to. And at the time when you did it, I'm sure you weren't thinking this is gonna be like the fucking shit.
And I'm giving you the short version of the story. You know what I'm saying? But nah, we did it. And you know, we did the first couple episodes. And if you even look at we weren't even drinking that much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then the CBS people thought it was amazing, but they didn't know what, like, it popped off so quickly and so fast that CBS, they didn't know what to do with it. Their sales team didn't know. The only way to make money at that time was selling ads.
Yeah, ads on top of it.
It blew up so quickly out the gate that the ads team was like, we don't know what to do. It's so new of a concept. Like, the numbers are big. We'd have to charge a lot of money, but it's so new and so wild that our advertisers are not going to pay, you know? Yeah. So we didn't make a penny for 6 months, but we were like the #1 music podcast.
Damn, that's fucking nuts.
For 6 months. And me and Nori just like, yo, again, we went back to what pays us. The act, you know, like just our culture showing us love. People saying it's dope. That was our pay.
Yeah.
That was our revenue. We're like, all right, and we got something here. So we just kept going.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So throughout this entire like trajectory with Crazy Hood, what do you think have been like, all right, you sit back and you say, what are the pitfalls that I would tell a younger EFN if like, you know, when in 93 when shit started popping off, what would I tell him to help him?
That's rough. I mean, I don't think I couldn't warn myself, you know, like to keep going. I would just say to anybody, like, if you truly have a passion for something, like a real deal passion, not that you think something looks cool to do, because it's not gonna be cool until it becomes cool to a lot of people. Until then, you're just some fucking idiot that's not doing shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, look at that guy. He thinks he's a rapper. Oh, look at that guy. He thinks he's a DJ. That guy over there, that little podcaster. That shit ain't doing no numbers. All I'm saying is if you got a passion, believe in it and push and keep doing it. And every day, inch forward, inch forward, inch forward. And if that specific thing that you have a passion for, like learn to pivot. But if you believe in one thing wholeheartedly, then just do things that surround it, that make you money, that are relatable to that goal. And just keep it's inch by inch. You know, you just got to move, whether it's slow or fast. Just move forward, you know, be persistent, be patient. And the thing is, what happens is in that journey that I'm telling you that's so rough, most people get angry and bitter. And they start to blame everything that's going wrong to other people. Like, oh, that motherfucker hater over there. Oh, this motherfucker's a hater. And they think, they think they deserve someone to give them a break. That's not the way this works. You got to create your breaks. You got to create your luck. And you got to make sure that when you interact with people, that they want to interact with you. And that means you got to humble yourself. You got to be kind. You got to be polite. You got to be grateful and appreciative of people because then nobody owes you nothing.
Facts.
At the end of the day, nobody owes you shit. And when people start to interact with you and they see that you a hungry dude, you're persistent, you're patient, you got a good attitude, then those are the people going to start to help you. You know what I'm saying?
Damn. Do you feel that that's like the overall arching like message that you put out with all your pieces of media? Like that's something
I try, you know, we try. I mean, I can't say we put that off with Drink Champs every time. We might put out, you know, get drunk. I don't know.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I try to put out that message. You know, I'm trying to do my part in giving back by giving out these messages, trying to give my experience. But everybody's experience is going to be different.
Yeah.
You know, what I went through, what my boys went through, like everybody's lane is different. But there are certain rules to the universe, you know what I'm saying, that I think, you know, makes sense. Like put out clear intentions of what you want to do, be persistent, and follow your heart, man. Follow your passion, follow your gut. But if you start fucking people over and being bitter and doing all that, it ain't gonna go nowhere. It's gonna end.
Damn, that's true. That's fucking true, man.
Like even if you fuck someone over and you get something, like they say, fast money ain't good money. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true. You gotta think about the long run, long term planning.
Yeah.
So, who are the top 5 influences, media wise? It doesn't have to be musically, but top 5 influences in your life.
Fuck, man.
Like media wise,
so
anything.
like you just what? Like when you're saying like.
It could have been a movie. It could have been an actor. Man. It could have been a song. It could have been a rapper. It could have been a.
I can't see. To me, it's hard to pinpoint 5 of anything, 10 of it. Like when people say, "Yo, what's your favorite records or songs?"
Yeah.
I'm a DJ. I got a Rolodex of thousands of records. I'll give you a couple of the artists that
really resonate
things. Like I told you, NWA, Public Enemy, hands down, changed my life.
Yeah, you know
what I'm saying. Comedian Robin Williams.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What about his
I don't know. I just as a kid watching Mork and Mindy and then seeing his work later and even his darkness, you know what I'm saying? Like where I told you like Crazy comes from a dark place, like I just, you know, he's always like resonated with me and I always thought he was one of the best actors and comedians, you know what I'm saying?
He was. Rest in peace.
Yeah, for sure. Trying to see besides that. So that's 3 right there, right? You want 2 more.
I mean, just that really like, this is something that shaped me as DJ EFN.
Well, you said movies too. I would say the movie Juice.
Oh, fuck.
Really like you know, seeing like the DJ scenes in there and just that movie, like that definitely, you know, like shaped me. Yeah, for sure.
Juice, yeah.
And then I gotta pick a wartime movie because all those movies were like what shaped me in a lot of ways. And the music in those movies, hearing because they would, what I loved about movies is that it played the music, especially like timepieces.
Yeah.
It had the music from that time.
Mm-hmm.
And later on in life, when I told you, I decided like hip hop is the music of my generation.
Yeah.
I thought about those movies. Like I thought about the future when they make a movie, let's just say about me and my crew, and they start playing the music from like, you know, like our music or the music from that we were growing up on. Like
Uncle Al.
I thought of all that, you know what I'm saying? And so I'll say Full Metal Jacket.
Oh shit! Damn, That's a big ass. Yeah, that's a big flex right there. Full
Yeah.
Metal Jacket, especially the first couple scenes when they're in the barracks.
For sure.
That shit is wild, man.
Yeah.
That was a big influence on myself as well.
For sure. And you know, and I'll put a sixth one that's super important to what I'm doing with Coming Home, and is Anthony Bourdain, of course.
Yeah, rest in peace, man, to the great Anthony Bourdain. Yeah, I mean, he was one of those people that you felt that everything that he said and did was genuine.
Yeah.
So you always felt like you were in the room with him. Like he wasn't like portraying to be somebody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's something that you guys, I feel that you guys really like crush it in Drink Champs, regardless of who the host is, right? You guys stay genuine to yourself, and those inquisitive things that you come up with that you're asking, they always like they're on point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that. I mean, dude, that's just intense. Now being
Man, who's got a call on the loudspeaker? That's you?
I don't know. So like, final question. You've been in the scene for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And this is like, a lot of people don't talk about this, but I asked you. I went on UB's podcast the other day. I was talking to him, and this is something that I asked him because he's been in the scene for a long ass time.
Right.
Somebody that you saw that had mad talent that you thought this was the next one, but didn't get there, and why? Like,
That's a great question. No, but everybody has their own answer.
yeah.
I'm gonna say the homie Jay Pure, which was from Cutler Ridge.
Okay.
Did you know about Jay Pure?
Yeah, I know Chin. Yeah.
That was his name? Yeah, I only knew his
Chin. Oh.
Jason.
Oh no.
Oh, Jason. Okay, I was about to say like,
You said Chin. You talking about the Chinese dude?
Yeah.
no, you're talking about Jin.
Jin. Yeah.
No. I
That
spoke.
he won the.
Yeah, I spoke to Jin the other day, like on DM. No, but I'm talking about Jay Pure.
Okay.
Jay Pure is a homie. He's from Cutler Ridge. He's from that crew SLP that I was telling you about.
Okay.
And we were trying to get him over to work with Crazy Hood. I mean, we're all close. They actually worked together, and he was almost ready to come to us. Not that he was gonna jump ship from his crew, but like for me to like manage him and for the crew, like for us to put out his music.
Support.
I felt that he embodied everything that I wanted out of a Miami artist.
Damn.
Everything. I mean, he had like the swag. He had the lyrically, because I wanted lyrics to come out here. Like, I wanted lyricism.
Bars.
He was a lyricist, but he had that down south swag. He was like a Andre 3000 Big Boy style, you know, like. But he was himself. Like, I don't even want to say that. I'm just saying like how you get lyricism and Southern from them.
Yeah.
That's what he was. But like repping like Cutler Ridge, Miami, like, I mean, bro, he was incredible and a good dude. And unfortunately, he got in a car accident with his brother, right? And he was in a vegetative state for many, many years. And he passed, what, like last year?
He passed like 3 months ago.
3 months ago? I thought it was last year.
3, 4 months ago.
Wow.
Damn. That's wow.
Bro. And like I put up a freestyle that he was on not that long ago, and you hear it, and I get chills when I hear it because his voice was just so. He had like an ill voice, he had like a deep ill voice, and he had the Southern swag, and he was just everything that I was like, man, this is the guy. Like this is the guy. You know, this is the one. And you know, like his boys would beat themselves up later on after the accident, like, oh man, maybe we should have let him, you know, do it because like whatever. There's a little politics between us as crews, like, oh, don't go over there, boom, boom. But so they felt bad, like if we let him. But no, nothing would have stopped the car accident.
Yeah.
So you know they were just beating themselves up for no reason. But yeah, that's the one, man. That was the one. Jay Pure.
I mean, do you guys have any of those audio files?
Well, SLP, his crew, they have a ton of his stuff, and we've kind of played with the idea of trying to do something, you know,
like some Big L, rest in peace type
something
of album.
like that, you know, and getting other artists on it. I just think that you know, I don't know, that might be a little bit more complicated to do. Maybe we'll do it at some point. But I have freestyles of his that he did on my mixtapes that are incredible.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up. It would be a tragedy to lose that like talent that came out of South Florida and represented for another.
Completely, and the Ridge.
Yeah.
It was completely the Ridge.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to hear that shit now. That shit makes me want to hear that
maybe,
shit.
Maybe before you bounce, I'll play something for you.
For sure, man. Yo, thank you so much, EFN,
Yeah.
for giving me your time. Oh, I want to give you this shirt, Phresh. Ya tu sabes. representing 305.
Dope.
This is what we're all about. That's what the brand is all about. You know, it's all about like different cultures and everything that we are out here. Colombians,
Appreciate it, bro.
Peruvians,
Thank you, man.
Cubans.
Hell yeah. Everything. In this room, we're everything right now.
You know what I'm
We're
saying?
Dominican, Cuban, Colombian. You're Colombian,
Peruvian,
right?
yeah, Colombian.
Peruvian and Cuban here. Look at that.
That's Miami as fuck. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hell
So it's like that's the
As
thing
fuck.
that makes the sazon, man. But
That's the gumbo.
yo, I highly appreciate you coming onto the podcast, talking to me, and sharing your experiences and
Thanks for coming
being
down.
real, man.
Thank
That's dope, man. To everybody who's listening, thank you so much for listening. Like I say, if you like this, share it with your friends, and if you hate this, share it with your enemies. But just share this motherfucker, all right? To the
right.
next one. Peace.
Peace.
Yo, I want to thank EFN. I want to thank the Crazy Hood Productions family, Boris, Pete, everybody out there. I want to thank everybody who came through and helped with the podcast, everybody who helped that come through. Thank you so much, EFN, for giving me your time, being so transparent, and being so open to the questions and giving some genuine answers. So creators out here could, follow that trail that you blazed. You already know who's crazy, DJ EFN, Drink Champs. Follow all of that, Revolt Television, all of that, man. Thank you so much. And if you like the podcast, like I say, share with your friends. And if you hate it, share it with your enemies. But just share that, all right? Holla at your boy, what's up, WASSA at Phresh.com. Phresh with an F, then Phresh with a PH, Phresh or Phresh, my dog. We doing good things. We doing big things in 2022. All right? Thank you so much. Hasta la próxima. Que te crezca. Peace.